Somebody give me the sound check in the chat, please. Somebody give me a sound check in the chat, please. Whew. Whew. You guys are real slow with this. Hey, my man Ron, thank you. Thank you. Win or lose, we booze. Cheers, fellas, and any women that found their way in here tonight. Tonight's victory beers brought to you by Heineken. I'm tempted to chug this like Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I don't want beer all over my shit in the studio. Oh, welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace. Here I'm running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit the subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And boy, oh boy, did the New Jersey Devils ever need a victory. They haven't needed a victory like this in October in quite some time. Heading into a Sunday night matchup against the Anaheim Ducks on a 4-game losing skid. The boys come out and they get it done. Listen, I'm not going to This feels way better than it should, and I'm way more jacked up than I should. But let's be honest, this was a huge game for this team to get their shit together before heading out to Western Canada. The Ducks played last night. They get Reimer in net tonight, and the boys do what they're supposed to do. They pound on a team that is not as good as them, beating the Ducks at the Rock by a score of 6-2. And let me just calm down for a minute. Cheers, guys. I hit the highway, and I was like in the Batmobile coming back from the game. Shout out to any police that I passed that didn't pull me over, because your boy was revving it on the highway. Oh, the beer, when it hits your lips. God, does that taste good after a New Jersey Devils win. Whew. Let me calm down. What a beautiful performance by the New Jersey Devils. Doing what they got to do. Protecting home ice. Beating up on a subpar hockey team and doing what they got to do. Give up the first goal, and I'm not going to lie, being at the game and the Ducks scoring that first goal, I was like, oh no. Am I really going to be here for what would have been quite a tragic loss? And after that first period, I'm not going to lie, I did not feel good. At 4:47, McGinn scores, gives the Ducks the 1-0 lead, and I had a knot in my stomach. Even though the Devils were dominating the period, on many nights, that's not enough for this New Jersey Devils club to get it done. I mean, there's been plenty of games where we dominated and found a way to lose. And so I believe the shots were like 7. We had 17 shots or something in the first period. A lot of them were shit shots, but some of them were decent. And I was like, here we go. We're going to end up with 40 shots on goal tonight, and we're going to make Reimer again look like a prime Patrick Waugh or a prime Martin Brodeur en route to a loss. But that was not how this night was going to go. The boys got back to it in the second period, and it didn't take long. At 1:16, Jack Hughes getting his 3rd of the year. Would love to see Jack just start exploding. I think it's only a matter of time. I do think at some point he is just going to go on a tear, but nice to see him get his 3rd to tie the game up. And then a few minutes later at 4:42, Stefan Noesen with an assist from Johnny Kovacevic and Siegenthaler. Kovacevic's 5th assist. Stefan Noesen is an absolute animal, an absolute dog. Another one of the great additions for this Devils club over the summer. I love Noesen. Love what he brings. He's definitely heavier, edgier, more violent, and he's chipping in a crazy amount of offense early on in the season. You'd love to see it. I think it's going to be a great season for Noesen, and I think this third line, if it stays intact for any sort of duration, I think the Noesen, Pollock, Cotter line is probably going to be the best third line in the league. I mean, they are just, when they're on, they are on. Noesen gives them the 2-1 lead, and then late in the period on the power play, Noesen does what he does best, getting to the front of the net and gets his second of the game, 5th on the season, power play goal, giving the Devils a 3-1 lead, assist to Jesper Bratt and Dougie Hamilton. And after that one went in, I was like, all right, let's just keep our, our foot on their throats and continue to bury them. And then a minute and a half, not even later, 1849, one of my new favorite players and should be yours.
Pollock. Yo, Pollock. Hey, yo, Pollock.
Paulie Cotter, his 6th of the season from Mercer and Siegenthaler at 1849, giving the Devils the 4-1 lead. And after 2, I was like, ooh, I'm feeling good. I'm like, we're not blowing this. We're dominating this game. Shout out to my friend Brian. He invited me to the game this afternoon, and he was like, just come to the game. And I was on the fence, and I was like, I don't know. And he's like, just come on, just come. So I'm glad I dragged myself out. So shout out to Brian. What a great time we had. And after the second period, I was, stuffing my face some more in the Hyundai Club. I was like, I'm feeling good. Let me start eating some early celebration pastries, a couple of the little shot glasses of ice cream they're serving up in that lounge, a little chocolate vanilla swirl. I have a review of the club coming soon too. I did another couple of food reviews. That's a side note. But after 2 periods, I was like, we got this. 4-1 Devils after 1. My man Cotter getting back on the score sheet. And then at 150 of the third period, just some extra, some extra insurance courtesy of.
He's pretty and he lives in Jersey City, number 13, Nico Hishauza.
What a legend this man is becoming. The captain, Nico Hischier, with his league leading, let me repeat that, folks, league leading 9th goal on the season, leading the entire NHL in goals, aside from winning faceoffs, being defensively responsible, and everything else that Nico Hischier does. He has now become a complete snipe show with his 9th goal of the season, assisted by Dougie Hamilton at 150, giving the New Jersey Devils the 5-1 lead. And I just can't say enough about Nico Hischier. For all the people, and listen, I was a little bit on the fence about him as a captain once upon a time. I'm not going to lie, I was. I grew up with Scott Stevens, number 4, one of the most intimidating, just frightening, scary, just absolute monster of a man. And so I will say I was looking for something more of that in that ilk for the next captain of the New Jersey Devils, or at least, after all the other captains. I was always looking for another guy like that. With that being said, every guy has a different way to lead. Not everyone's going to be a Scott Stevens. And over time, I've come to realize that Nico is a completely different type of captain, a completely different type of leader. And he does it by giving 110% night in and night out, goes out there, defensively responsible, chips in his fair share of offense, is a face-off wizard, puts his body on the line, takes a absolute pounding, takes a licking, and keeps on ticking. He's got to be one of the toughest pound-for-pound players in the league in terms of just absolutely getting abused on some nights and just continuing to go out there and do what he does. And right now, Nico Hischier is driving the car. He's doing all the heavy lifting for your New Jersey Devils, and it is a beautiful thing to see. Well, on the way of having just an absolute monster offensive season. At this point, he's on pace for some absurd amount of goals. I don't think this will keep up, but I do believe he has with this hot start, Nico Hischier has a very, very good chance to have his first 40-goal season. And I would love to see it. I mean, I would love to see 50. But what an absolute tear Nico Hischier has been on. And you just can't praise this guy enough. It's been a phenomenal thing to see. At 13-10, the Devils had a little bit of a breakdown, and the Ducks made a nice play. And Strom cuts the Devils' lead to 5-2. And late in the game, 19:01, I thought we might see a goalie pull. I wasn't sure. I was obviously waiting. Your boy was Ace was ready. I was like, my hat launching. I was getting ready. I was practicing in between periods my form. I was like, let me practice my form if I don't run down to the glass or much closer to it, I was like getting ready to get low and, do one of these Frisbee things and I'm like testing the weight. And I was like, no, I feel good about where I am. I think with the release and enough of an arc, I could clear the glass from where I was. But unfortunately, the goalie pull never came. Nason never got his third. So I still have the hat on my head that I was at the game with. But with the goalie in at 19:01, Eric Haula beating Reimer. You love to see it in total garbage time. Haula, his fourth from Pollock and Dillon, giving the Devils the 6-2 lead. And that is how the game ended. And let me just calm down, guys. I'm all fired up. I'm hopped up on Mountain Dew and sugar. A lot of arena food brewing in my stomach. I had that drive, and now I'm drinking Heineken. But this was, let's call it for what it is. We beat up on a team that we should have, but we need this. We needed this. We could not be on a 5-game skid with 4 of the 5 losses coming at home before going on the Western Canada road trip. It would have been absolutely awful. This is just what the doctor ordered. I wanted pretty much a beat down, and we pretty much saw it. They dominated the game. Markstrom, I thought that first goal was shit. I'm just thinking of random things here. I thought that first goal was ass cheeks from Jacob Markstrom, but I don't think he was anticipating a shot, I suppose. I haven't seen any replays or anything. I just came out of the Batmobile straight into the booth, flipping switches to talk to all you fine folks on this beautiful fall Sunday evening where our New Jersey Devils snapped a 4-game losing streak. And it kind of feels gross actually to be this happy about it, but this was a big one. This was an absolute big one. Shout out to Curtis MacDermid. Hold on. I've been meaning to, I wanted to look this up, but I was driving. Curtis MacDermid setting the tone early. Love to see him in the lineup. You guys know I am the president of the Curtis MacDermid fan club. I was calling for him heavily after the Detroit game. We saw him injected into the lineup for the Islander game, and in only 2 minutes and 44 seconds, I believe, of ice time, he gave us the helmet popper special, rocking Romanov, then fought Mayfield. And that is the type of thing that a guy like Curtis MacDermid can do in very limited amounts of ice time. And he got it going early tonight with Johnston. Beautiful fight. I have some in-arena footage of that I'll share at some point in something. But Curtis MacDermid just getting the energy in the building going early. And then with Lazar hurt, I was like, MacDermid might see some career minutes tonight. And I'm looking at the sheet. He may have. My man Curtis MacDermid, 13 shifts for 9-12. Love to see it. Looked responsible out there. Was always aware of where he was. He chipped the puck out a couple times. He set up in front of the net, was bumping people around. And I think this man just needs to play more. Obviously, I know he cannot play every night, and his skill set is, more limited than guys you'd ideally want to see on your fourth line. But now with Lazar, I hope we don't miss Lazar for an extended period of time. But now with Lazar out, I mean, MacDermid's got to be on, in the lineup for this Western Canada road trip. I would love to see him in there. And I'm wondering if the next guy up, well, I guess it would just probably be Bastian. And if they take MacDermid out, who would go in? Bastian, and maybe we'll see Foot or Hallinan. I don't know. Hopefully, thoughts and prayers to Curtis Lazar. I didn't get to see a replay of that either. Hopefully it is nothing too crazy, but it did seem like in his face, it did seem sort of serious to me. When he was kind of limping off the ice, it seemed like in his face that he was really wincing and that he was disappointed and that it wasn't, that it wasn't going to be good. That was kind of my take on the whole thing, just from kind of reading his body language and looking at his face when I got a pretty good look at him when he was coming off the ice. I thought, damn, we're going to be missing Lazar. It seems like he knows it's something slightly serious. So it'll be curious to see how the fourth line kind of shapes up for the Western Canada road trip. Curious to see if anyone gets recalled, if they toy with the idea of taking MacDermid out and then putting Bastian and someone else in, or if we're just going to see Bastian go in. It'll be interesting. Hopefully he's not out for any sort of extended period of time. I thought Gudas looked froggy at a couple points. I think Nason got in his face. I don't know if that was televised. It was kind of maybe in between, maybe at the TV timeout or something. He was kind of chirping him. I thought at one point we might see a MacDermid Gudas. I thought I would have loved to see that, but shout out to Curtis MacDermid, just bringing so much energy, bringing the utmost of heavier, edgier, more violent. And that was a beautiful little scrap early on. And it was a great game for your New Jersey Devils. And I was just elated that I got to see a quality Devils outing with my buddy Brian while stuffing my face. And it was a beautiful night. It was an absolutely beautiful night. Was it a cheap hit? I'm just trying to scan the chat here. Was it a dirty hit from Gudas? How about the captain with the snipe? Absolute snipe. This man is he's just playing a different game right now. And you absolutely love to see it. There's not enough words to praise the captain, Nico Hischier. He has just been, it's just a whole different ball game for him. It's just, I didn't see this coming. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think we would see such a, I obviously thought he was a very, very good offensive player, but it seems like now he's been like, I'm going to just start firing pucks and I'm going to rack up points. It really did seem like that. I don't know if that's a conscious effort on his part, or, if the coaching staff was like, score more, you could do it, just start shooting, or if it's just a byproduct of him feeling more comfortable. I don't have all the answers for this. It is a phenomenon that I love to see. I don't really have a explanation as to why it's happening, but I love to see it. I'm not going to complain. Nico becoming, or at least temporarily being the leading goal scorer in the NHL approximately 3 weeks into the season. I did not have that on my bingo card. And I think if anyone said they did, I think they're full of shit. But what an amazing surprise it has been to see, Nico just dominating games like this. Absolutely dominating games. Let me just pull something up here. I'm just looking at some other stats. What a night to be a Devils fan, guys, huh? 5 in a row, no thank you. It was not going to be 5 in a row. The streak stops at 4, and hopefully this springboards them into a beautiful Western Canada road trip. Because I would love to sweep this road trip. I'm not going to, 2 out of 3 would be great. But I'm always going to be a little greedy and, want the most we could get. I just dropped the number in the chat. If anyone wants to call in right now, we're taking call-ins. The number's 973-370-5285. Call into the post-game show and talk about your New Jersey Devils. Big win against the Ducks. A big win against the Ducks. I don't know how I feel about those jerseys. I think I like the crest. I think I like the logo, the new kind of logo they're going with. I don't know how I feel about the predominantly orange on their jersey. Obviously, if I ever had to wear a non-Devils hockey jersey for anything, it would be a Ducks jersey just because of the association with, the Mighty Ducks, the movie. Which is a crazy story in and of itself, that a Disney movie could birth an actual NHL franchise. But God, what a great movie. For those of you that, I don't know how you wouldn't know about it, but if you're a newer fan and maybe you're younger, or I don't know, if you've never seen the Mighty Ducks movies, that is like a must. That was a childhood staple. My brother and I would watch that regularly. All the kids my age that liked hockey, it was just an obsession. Nothing better than Charlie Conway and Gordon Bombay. I mean, wow. The Mighty Ducks movies are just absolutely phenomenal. Let me see some. Lazar will be missed, but I'm sure Keefe will figure it out. Yeah, well, he's going to have to. And I think he's definitely going to miss some time. Win or lose, we booze. You guys already know. That is the motto. Nico is in win now mode. Bear with me 1 second. Got me I don't know, Zig. Oh, we're getting a call. We are getting a call. Hold on 1 second.
Call from Jared Barnes.
Hello.
Yo, Ace, our boys did it.
They did it. Who's this? Is this Jared?
This is Jared. Yeah, this is Jared.
What's going on, my friend? Talk to me. How you feeling right now?
Oh, I'm feeling pumped, man. We needed this.
We needed it in the worst way. Where are you calling from, Jared?
Jared, I'm from Lexington, Kentucky.
Lexington, Kentucky. Where are you originally from?
Well, I grew up in Italy. My parents were military and moved back here when I was about 8 years old, but I've been a Devils fan since I was a teenager. Of course, the good years with Brodeur and Nico and Timo Meier and all those guys. Easy to be a Devils fan.
So how did you become a Devils fan?
Actually, it's, pretty easy. Just like I said, watching those guys growing up. I think my friend got me into hockey because we were playing the hockey video games when we were kids.
Nice.
And of course, I always picked the Devils. And then, of course, by playing the game, found out about all the great players that we had and just went from there.
Very cool. So what did you think was the what is your takeaway from tonight and your kind of outlook on the season? I was really dreading after that first period. I was like, I'm going to go home and get in my studio, and I am going to be inundated with doomsday people in the chat. And luckily, that is not the case for tonight, Jared. It was not. They were not going to let it happen to me tonight.
No, I felt the same way. The first goal, I was like, here we go again, because they've had a bad habit of, getting down and having to play catch-up the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say the last two games, even though they lost, if you look at the stats down the board, they were winning in almost every category, and they should have won those games. I don't want to make excuses for them, but they've played a lot harder in these last couple games, and all the people that are being negative in the chat, they need to get hyped and get on board with our boys and be positive. They need to stay there's a lot to see in the team to look at and see that there's positive there. There's guys fighting on the board. Siegenthaler's played way better this season than
Siegenthaler's out there like his career is on the line, slamming guys. Yeah. I'm like, where the hell was this guy last year?
Absolutely. And Timo, the other night when we were in the chat, I was seeing people talking bad about Timo, and I'm like, are you crazy? Like, this guy on every possession is fighting. He is the true definition of a power forward, in my opinion.
You guys know I love Timo. It's always Timo time on this channel, which actually is always
Absolutely.
Which is always 10:17 because this clock has a dead battery, I believe. But he a lot of people I think are just looking for max goals, and when they don't see immediate goals, they tend to be like, this guy's overhyped, he gets paid too much, yada yada. I think it's unfortunate that people kind of just look at that. I would be perfectly content with a 30-30 type of season from him, where he's smashing people, agitating people, and just bringing that physicality up front that we really don't have. There's really no one else in the top six that has that kind of
assist numbers. His assist numbers for the season are already great.
People want goals. That's how these the doomsdayers, they're just looking for the goals. Oh, where are the goals? But I love Timo. I've loved him since we got him. And he's almost a point a game player. Through 12, he has 4 goals and 7 assists. I don't know what more these people want.
What could you ask more? Yeah. He plays tough. He plays both sides of the puck, and that's what you want. You want guys like him and Nico. I think we're in good hands with those two guys for sure.
I do too. What else? Are you a Curtis MacDermid guy?
Oh, absolutely. We needed a guy like him. I knew when they put him in the last game and he came in and did what he's there to do, it got the bench fired up. It got me fired up. And then tonight, was it like less than 2 minutes into the game?
nearly immediate.
Yeah, but look at how fired up the boys got from that.
No, it was great. It was a great scrap, and it was kind of not directly in front of me, but it was very close to where I was in the arena. And I always like when he has the the dramatic, like there was a very big buildup. Like he kind of got bum rushed by Mayfield on the Islander one. This was like the dramatic, like gloves are off, put up your dukes, they're skating around. There was a little size up. Did we lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, I think there's more people calling.
I can let other people.
No. We'll finish up in a second. Whoever's calling, just bear with us a minute. When we hang up here, the next call we'll patch through. But yeah, I love MacDermid, and not too many other guys on the team are going to bring that element. So I'm glad that you appreciate it too. There's a lot of the doomsdayers were hating on that signing when it first happened as well.
Yeah. Well, I just hope the only thing out of tonight is I hope Lazar is okay, because he's been bringing it too. He's one of our tough guys, and we need him.
No, for sure. Lazar loves to hit people, loves to block shots. You always get a great effort out of him as well. Pretty much the quintessential, in my opinion, fourth liner kind of guy. And yeah, that does suck. And I hope he's not out for any sort of extended time. But we're gonna next guy up, man. Depth. We're gonna see some forward depth on display probably in the next game.
Well, like you said, they'll probably put Bastion in, and I'll be honest, that's another one. Like coming out of last season, I was kind of a little down on him, but so far this season, there's been a few plays where he's really been the guy to make the block shot, or he even he's got 2 goals for the season. Is that right?
Who?
Bastion. I think he's got 2.
I know he has that beautiful shorty. And
that's right. He got the shorty in that one game. Yeah, and I think he got another one.
He did against Tampa. Let me see. He had Tampa Bay and Ottawa. Yeah.
I think he'll be all right. I think they put him back in. I mean, he's another guy. He'll do what's needed for the team. He'll take the block shot. He'll eat the puck if he has to keep it from going in the net. So.
No, man, I agree, and maybe he'll be rested up and fired up to get back in the lineup if he is the next guy on deck. But thanks for calling, man. Appreciate it. Have a great night. And as always, let's go Devils, man.
Let's go.
Let's go, man. You too. Take care. All right. The phone line is back open. Sorry to those of you that were calling. Wow. What a night. Curtis MacDermid, the toughest man in the National. We needed this win. Helps get rid of them dark clouds. Sure, against Ducks, but we need this. Absolutely. You got to keep in mind, when evaluating the situation, we did beat up on a bad Ducks team, but it was just what the doctor ordered. And you got to pound on the teams you should. MacDermid set the tone early. The week is going to be a good week. The Devils win on a Sunday. Yes. MacDermid has to stay on the ice. Cotter, freaking beast. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Call from
James Ketchum.
Hello, James.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. These victory beers never tasted better, my man.
I know. Let's go Devils, bro.
Let's go. What
before anything, I just want to say I'm a huge fan.
I appreciate that.
And fuck the Rangers, obviously. I don't like them, and I cannot wait till December 23rd because I got tickets to go to the game.
Very cool. Very cool. That's the first Devils-Rangers home game, right? For Devils?
I believe so.
Yeah,
That's the point. I'm going anyway.
I'm still debating going to the first one at the Garden. But I don't know, because I have, had situations where people get a little aggressive, and when that happens, I could see myself, being maced, tasered, billy clubbed, and sitting in the, sitting in the Madison Square Garden local jail. So I don't want to do that. I might, as a tactic, go with some of my Ranger fan friends, even though I don't really want to do that. But I think in terms of being as incident free as possible, that's probably the move. But what'd you think about tonight's outing?
I honestly think in the first period we were a little sloppy, and we had shots, but it's just we didn't I think we could have had a couple goals in the first, but obviously in the second, some of their passing was really good, like with Mercer and Hughes. When Hughes got the first goal to tie the game up, I thought the passing was actually really, really good. Little tic-tac-toe play.
Love to see it. I also, what do you think about our man Paul Cotter's emergence as the find of the century from Fitzy?
So honestly, I'm a big Hughes fan. I'm gonna be honest. I know like a lot of people probably are, but I have liked him as a player now because he's a grinder. He'll get in people's faces. He'll do the dirty shit that nobody else wants to do. And I'm really starting to warm up to him, and I'm very glad. As much as I'm still upset that we got rid of Schmid and Holtz, I think it was a good play on Fitzgerald's part. I'm starting to warm up to the Paul Cotter era for the Devils.
I think it's already proven to be a steal. I mean, I personally hoped Holtz would develop into something. I was more emotionally attached to Akira Schmid because of his playoff heroics. But at this point, I mean, I will never shed a tear again. It's been just a match made in heaven for Paul Cotter and our New Jersey Devils. And I think the guy is just going to continue to show what he could do in random spots and opportunities he's given. And he just looks like one of those guys that if once we're in the playoffs, that he's really going to do some special things for this team.
Yeah, I know he's gonna piss a lot of people off in the playoffs. I'll tell you what.
No, for sure.
I cannot wait. And I obviously, when we were on the 4-game losing skid, I kind of got a little worried because honestly, goaltending, I'm gonna be honest, hasn't been up to as what
the goaltending's been shit. The goaltending's been shit, and it's been a disappointment. I thought Markstrom had an okay game today and nothing great, but in the end, hopefully on most nights, either we win because the goaltending was the difference and they kind of stole the game on maybe nights where our forwards aren't as brilliant, or on the flip side, there could be nights where the goaltending play wasn't the best, but our offense was clicking so much that they didn't need to be, on their A game. It's like, as long as the goalie or the offense is hot, I think we're going to win a lot of games. And I think you're going to see a lot of nights of both ways. Even that Senators game recently, the Devils didn't look so great, but Markstrom had a pretty good game and we won. And, again, tonight, Markstrom didn't look great. He wasn't that tested, didn't face a ton of rubber, but the Devils just dominated the Ducks and we got the win that way.
Now, also, one other thing about the Tampa Bay game with Jake Allen, I wasn't able to call them, but it kind of, unfortunately, like, no disrespect to Jake Allen, and I think, if he had a little more defense in front of that game, it kind of felt like I was back with watching Vitek Vanacek give up 4 goals in a period and then shutting the TV off and being miserable the rest of the night because they lost.
Yeah, it's... I think we all have PTSD to some extent because of some of the goals and the goalie play we saw last year and the way they just kind of came in waves where it was like a team scores and then, 30 seconds later they score again. And then in some nights they gave up like 3 in 2 minutes. I'm not in love with Allen, but I think, used in the appropriate manner and workload, he'll be fine for us. But I was never in love with anointing him as the backup goalie when we got him last year, if I'm being honest. I'm just hoping that Markstrom becomes the guy that I think he could be, and that will be a difference. He'll be the difference maker, I think, on a lot of nights when he's called upon.
Now, I have a good question for you about this.
Mm-hmm.
So, remember how we had Kakinen, or I think that's how you said his name?
Capo Kakinen. Yeah, I would have loved him back.
Would you have liked a tandem of Markstrom and him instead of signing Jake Allen for that year, or do you think those two would have been better? Because Kakinen was the one that got us the shutout against I think it was the Islanders later last year.
I personally liked Kakinen more than Allen, but the way it all went down was we got Allen. Fitz basically came out and said, this guy's the starter. Not the starter. He's the backup for next year, which I thought was odd. And then he gets Kakinen and basically says the only reason we got Kakinen is because he needed to get rid of Vanacek's salary, which I thought was kind of a slap in the face to Kakinen. And I was like, how could you even pick Allen over him before they even play any games? I thought his ceiling was much higher than Allen's, and he was much younger. So I personally would have went with Kakinen or even a different guy in free agency. but it wasn't meant to be. I think at the time, when the summer came around, I don't even know if they had any conversations with Kakkonen, but in his kind of exit interview, he was talking about how he thought he was a starting goalie in the league. And so I don't think there was ever going to be a situation where we saw him return with the Devils one way or another.
See, personally, even if say if we didn't get Markstrom, I think we should have kept him. Even if we didn't get Markstrom, we could have started him. Personally,
Fitz would have got flipped. That would have been a huge gamble, man. That would have been in my opinion, that would have been a patchwork gamble. I think everybody was thirsty for a known goalie, a legit starting goal. Yeah, just someone who, and a lot of people hated on the Markstrom thing and thought, and they're still out there. And every time he has a bad game, they come out and talk shit. And then when he plays decent, they go back into hiding. But I do think he will eventually, find his game and, and be good for this New Jersey Devils club. As long as he does what he's got to do and in the playoffs plays at a, average, above average level, I think this team can go places.
Now, personally, the people who hate are hating on Timo and Markstrom. Markstrom's still learning the program of our team under General Keefe, in my opinion. And I think if you give him probably about another 5-6 games, I think he'll start getting back in his rhythm.
I hope so.
He did that with
I hope so. He looked a little shaky tonight on that first one. There was a couple other times where it looked like he lost track of the puck. But listen, I'm not going to complain. Giving up 2 goals on how many shots did they get?
It was 26.
Yeah, 2 goals on 26. I mean, not a bad outing. He made some decent stops. We got the W, and now we're going to Western Canada on a nice high.
And personally, when we go to Canada, I think we need to win at least 4. We need to sweep the whole thing.
But it's only it's the 3-game trip. So we got
3 games.
Yeah, we got the Hughes Bowl, which I didn't think Jack was going to be playing in this. So it's the second annual Hughes Bowl, the second annual Hughes Bowl against the Canucks on Wednesday the 30th. And then we got Friday against the Flames, and then Monday against the Oilers, and then they're back home next Thursday against the Canadians. So three decent teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Jack is also, speaking of the Hughes brothers, I think Luke's starting to get more comfortable now that he's back from a shoulder injury. Same with Jack. I think Jack's starting to find it. He looked a little shaky throughout the first about handful of games, but I know he's starting to, in my opinion, I think find his game. I'm not sure how you think, but I think he's starting to get back into the Jack Hughes that everybody knows.
No, I agree. He definitely looked like he was maybe nursing an injury, or maybe he's struggling with some things Keefe wants him to do specifically within the game. But in the last few games, he's definitely looked like he's much closer to that dominant Jack that we all know and love. And hopefully, I'm just waiting for the out, when he gets a 2-goal, 2-assist night. I'm just looking for those 3 and 4 point nights, hopefully just pile up in succession, and then he just takes off. I think he's still looking for the full breakout, but he's definitely looked, in my opinion, much closer to his normal self. I don't think he's quite there yet, but I think we're going to see it soon, and hopefully he picks this road trip to really break out.
Also, I love the fight with Curtis MacDermid tonight.
What a beautiful bout.
That's how you start off a game and set the tone with how the game's going to go. Even though we gave up that first goal, you definitely saw in the second the urgency that the boys brought. Even in the third. How about Brendan Dillon too with his 200? He just got his 200th career point tonight.
Oh, nice! I didn't even know that. 200th point, huh?
Yeah, I saw it on the.
Yeah, and he just played in his 900th game, so a lot of milestones for Dylan. All right, man. Listen, let me run. Good talking to you, James. Thanks for calling.
Yep.
Let's go, Devils.
Thank you for having me.
Talk to you soon. Anytime, man. Have a good night. Take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye. All right, that was James. And how do I manage to get no stains on my jersey? So I don't really manage to not get stains on my jersey. I just clean it a lot. Tonight, did I get any war wounds on here? Somehow I didn't, and I was stuffing my face with all kinds of shit. We had the vat of cheese in the lounge there. I get a plate and put the lava cheese in the plate, and I dunk everything in that thing. Chicken tenders, pretzels, hot dogs, cheeseburgers. Pretty much, there's not many things that I wouldn't enjoy dunking in the cheese. We have another caller.
Call from
Hello. You are live on the post-game show. Who's calling?
No, hey, insane Pollock.
Who is
Yeah.
it?
Pollock, insane Pollock. Insane Pollock.
Oh, Insane Pollock. How you doing?
Yeah. What's up, Dave?
Oh,
Dude,
man.
what a win.
I'm just feeling good. I'm just feeling good. I am feeling great. Hopefully they can keep it going in Canada. But, one step at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day, as I like to say. And a loss tonight would have been devastating, and it could have been the end of the channel, honestly.
I told the Doomers had to just, ease up.
There's a lot of them, man. There is a lot of them.
I know there is. Well, I don't think we hear from SSP tonight.
No, you guys know how he is. He'll be back after the next loss. He's going to be like, "Oh, I was tired." But yeah, it is pretty funny how he never comes around after the wins, right?
Yep. But with Markstrom with the first goal, I will give him the benefit of the doubt. I thought Kovacevic screamed a little bit. If he would have let him have that actually direct shot where he could see it, I don't think it would have squeezed through. But who knows? I mean,
I got to rewatch it in the arena in real time, and then when they replayed it on the board, it's obviously not the same thing as watching at home, but it definitely seemed like, kind of a cheesy goal in my opinion. But if you're saying that there's a potential for a screen there, I could see it. And in the end, he held it down pretty much for the rest of the game outside of that second goal where the Ducks made a great play. I can't fault him on that one. But in real time, it seemed like a softie. But if there was a screen there, I could see it. He didn't give up any other soft goals for the whole game in the workload he saw tonight. So I can't kill the guy. He played good enough to win, and that's all that matters for tonight.
We did luck out with that one post shot where it would have made it 3-5 3-5. Is that like 5 minutes left or something?
Is that when he was moving right to left and got beat by the shot?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he definitely got beat.
That was, he lucked out on that one. But how about our captain, man? He's turning into some player, man. He can just he's turning into he's looking more like a first round pick than Jack.
He's pretty and he lives in Jersey City, number 13, Nico Hishauza.
Nico Hishauza, man. He's looking like a number one overall. He is. He's looking like a number one overall.
And to think, we were thinking of taking, what's his name, who's not even in the league anymore.
Nolan Patrick? Ooh, I talked about this the other day.
We dodged a bullet with that one.
Massive bullet.
All due respect to Patrick, I feel bad that he has injury issues, but yeah, Nico is he's the man, dude. He's just, leading the league in goals now. It's just amazing, man. It's just, he's gotten us back in so many games that, he's the reason why we had a point in Washington. Isn't he? I'm pretty sure.
Nico has been, I don't even know how he scored in what he has 9 now. And what that's,
doesn't he have a point streak going on right now?
Let me see something.
I'm not sure.
He has 9 goals in 12 games, but he had a couple games with 2 goals. So he's probably scored in like half the games because I think he has 2 2-goal games. But what a friggin' tear for this guy. I mean, listen, I always thought he was a very good offensive player, but I didn't, see him leading the league 3 weeks. It's not like, we're saying he's leading the league after 3 games. I mean, we're now 3 weeks into the season, or at least for the Devils. I guess everyone else is probably more like 2.5 weeks. But to be leading the league at any point after game 3 is there's something to be said for that with all the skill guys around the league. And I don't think most people would have, no one would be shocked by it, but most people, if you polled them, who is going to be leading the Devils in goals after, 12 games, I think most people would have probably said Hughes.
Would have thought Jack.
Most people would have said Jack.
But Cotter has more goals than Jack.
Well,
Nason has more goals than Jack. Two guys that Fitz acquired. I thought I said for the longest time, you should have never let Nason leave. Nason was just like he was it sucked that he friggin' had that he left, but now he's back in red and black. It's just he's killing it. So
I liked him the first time around, but he is a substantially better player
He's gotten better. I will say he's gotten.
Carolina
his playing his tenure in Carolina built him better. I will say that
for sure.
Playing under Brindamore,
yeah,
definitely. I mean, how many times did he became a devil killer?
Yeah, I'm glad he's here now. He it was nice to see him come back with that extra, development and tutelage under Brindamore. And that's another guy. Him and Cotter are two of the guys that I am super jacked for when it comes playoff time, because I think both of those guys are going to be guys that are getting it done when it matters the most, which is obviously the playoffs. So I very much look forward to that. What do you think? What kind of numbers do you think Cotter finishes the season with? Preseason, I predicted him. I think it was 18 goals and 23 assists, and people were telling me I was on crack. I was like, I might be, but I just had a good feeling.
I'm gonna say 25, dude.
25 goals? Oof.
I would the way he's playing.
I would love to see it. It's a long season, but I mean, if he's able to finish with 25 goals, I mean, my God, even anywhere near that, the fact that Fitz got him when a lot of people, including myself, were skeptical, just because I was hoping Holtz was going to develop into what everyone thought he was going to be, but more so because of Schmidt. Holtz is going to be a bust. Let's call it for what it is. It's unfortunate, but I think he's going to be a bust. But I really did like Akira Schmidt, and I thought that, given the Rangers' heroics, he would have maybe bought some more time in the organization. But I do think that there was a lot of internal, probably between his agent and whatever else, a lot of kind of bad blood, because I did feel like at times he did get, jerked around a little bit. He was sent up and down a bunch of times, and I do feel like they kind of botched his development. But, it is what it is. He's going to get a chance of some kind or an opportunity in Vegas, and there's no looking back for the Devils, because we got Paul Cotter here now, baby. Paul Cotter.
Like a Cotter pin. That's
he is just an absolute beast. Absolute beast.
He's got a great shot, and has the Pesci's looking great defensively. I mean, since he got back, he's been like, that one move he made the other night on the blue line where
he jammed the guy, where he stepped up and jammed the guy. Beautiful. And then
the guy.
He already had that. He had the 2-on-1 that he broke up in Detroit was beautiful. Yeah, he's just a very heady veteran, very smart defensive player.
And I'm hoping McGill won't fuck him up, but
nah, I think he's going to be just fine. I think it's probably, I think the pairing makes sense, because you're still going to get some of those mistakes / gambles from Luke, and I think there's probably no better guy to bail him out and cover his ass than Pesci.
Yeah. Luke pissed me off. I get he was coming back the first game, but man, some of those mistakes he made the other night, I was just like Markstrom had to friggin' bail him out on the one, because he friggin' passed it to no one behind the net, and then he made that stupid pass up the blue line in their own zone, and that resulted in a goal, and pretty much started making the game go the other way. But I mean, Luke had a good game tonight. I will say he had a better. I think Keefe read him the ride after making that pass through on the blue line. Like, don't fucking do that again.
I would love to know how that stuff is kind of handled privately, if I'm being honest.
May have let you get away with that shit, but I'm not going to. You gotta chill that out.
I'm waiting to see if he has the stones to either bench people for prolonged periods of time, or straight up scratch people. I think at some point it's going to have to happen.
We said Dougie deserved to be scratched.
Oh, for sure.
That game the other night, that was terrible.
Yeah, and I think he had 2 points tonight, so he's probably feeling himself again. But
he did better tonight. But I'll let someone else talk, Ace. Yeah, let's go Devils. I think we're going to have a good trip coming up. I want 4 out of 6. I'll take 4 out of 6.
I would settle for it. 5 or 6 out of 6 would be better.
5 would be great, but I mean, does Allen get any of these games, or is it all going to be Markstrom? I mean, depending on how Markstrom's definitely going to play in Vancouver. So, I mean,
yeah, there's 3 days.
Plays.
There's 3 days till then. It is crazy the way our schedule was super crammed. Then you have, there's like normal breaks.
Everyone's trying to say the schedule is a bad excuse. I mean, we've played the most games in the league so far. Buffalo hasn't even played as many games as us.
Yeah.
They're 2 games behind.
Yeah, that is
3 games behind.
That's the downside of getting put on on the big stage in the global series. Like, and for your efforts, you get to come back and play 9 million games in a month and figure it out. But that's where it's a nice early kind of test. It's pretty much like a very grueling playoff type schedule early on, and hopefully build some character. But thanks for calling, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Let's go Devils. Have a great night.
I got my edgier, heavier, more violent shirt on right now.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Hopefully we get some more wins, man. Appreciate you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep.
Take care. Bye-bye. And there we have another Michael. Got my heavier, edgier, more violent shirt. The quality is through the roof. It looks great, and it's a great price. Thanks, brother. Give this guy a like. Thank you for the support, Michael. Yes, and thank you. Hit the thumbs up. Give your boy a like on this big Devils victory Sunday evening. Wow. Nico for 40+ this season. I hope so. We have more games played than every team. I'd hope someone on team has most in the league. Well, I mean, way to be a wet blanket, Ryan. How many more games do we really have played than everybody else? Let's see. Let's just see. I think there's got to be some teams that are like only a game or 2 behind. Yeah, Panthers played 10. Yeah, all right. So he's got 2 or 3 games. Well, let me see who's number 2 at the moment. It was Skaters. Yeah, so Kucherov has 8 in 8 games. All right, well, let's see how it goes. Cole Caulfield with 8 in 9 games. Nico is a beast of those top shelf goals. Nico, he's Schauza, MVP, putting work every game, every shift. And that C is looking really nice now. It absolutely is. Nico keeps us up, he'll be Selke winner this year. If Nico keeps us up, he's going to win the Rocket Richard and maybe a Hart. There's no way to maintain this pace, but even keeping up anything remotely near it would be a beautiful thing to see. Thoughts on Mac dropping the gloves early? You already know what I think. I love it. I was hoping for a second one. I thought we might get a second one. It wasn't in the cards. I'm calling it now. Nico with 40+ goals and grabbing the Selke. Wow. Nico's looking like Mario Lemieux to start the season. You called me Brave Ace. This is why I'm brave. I don't know. Captain Mofongo, let's go. Yeah, and Hamilton following guy to the boards and leaving it wide open in front of Markey. MacDermid was on the ice the last 2 minutes waiting if Gudis came out. Yeah, I really thought, and shout out to Keefe. When he realized we had the game in the bag, MacDermid played it like he was out there pretty often towards the end of the game. Yeah, Paul, we need to see a Big Mac goal now. I think the building would have lost their shit. I was waiting for him to get like a lucky tip or something in front. He kept going to the front of the net. I actually thought MacDermid had a pretty good game considering who he is and what you can expect from him. Yeah, absolutely. He didn't really stick out in a negative way. He chipped a couple pucks in. He chipped a couple pucks out up the boards. Went to the front of the net, kind of, gave the goalie and defenseman a little bit of the business. And he obviously had the bout. Lazar being hurt is an issue. There's no one to replace him. They'll figure it out. Hopefully he's not out long. What's up, Abe? What's up, Ritter? Engine just got back from the game. Nice. I was a little delayed on the way out. Still no Dougie bombs, not tonight. I guess we won't see SST. It's like sadness from the inside out. We have a couple up in Utica, but not on the level of Lazar. I'm not sure if they're going to want MacDermid in being in for the Canucks game. Hughes Bowles are always painted as a match of skill and toughness. Dougie looks bad, but the numbers suggest he's evening it out. Would like to see him clean up some of the little things soon. Got to give MacDermid more minutes at the end of the game. Gudas hit was definitely dirty. Dano Bryce said it was without opening. Call him out. Okay. Yeah, these are all the things I'm going to get to watch after I get off of here because, like I said, I was at the game, and it's always a different kind of element trying to gather my thoughts and all these things when at the game versus watching at home. Pollock and Hamilton weren't detriments tonight. I guess that's always a good thing. The underlying numbers have been screaming for years now that Nico is elite offensively. I think it's Keefe's system that finally has that going from expected goals to actual goals. It could be. Interesting stat. At the Stadium Series, Nico got his 17th goal of the season, and now he has 9 already in October. Yeah, that's interesting. The game was like, what, February 17th? So it's almost like 4 months almost. So he's more than halfway to his 4-month in the future total from last year. Cotter having 6. Oh, man, love to see it. Our captain is our best player the way it should be on a lot of teams for sure. Plot looked good tonight. If I'm honest, though, I'm still a bit concerned with Markey. I was sitting in 117, had a good view of him. He looks a bit shaky. He definitely looked a little shaky to me tonight. Played well enough to win, obviously, and that's, a credit to the Devils just, overwhelming the Ducks. But he definitely looked like he was fighting it a little bit, and he lost, sight of the puck a couple times. Hopefully it's, he just gets more comfortable and settles in. How long before defense gets a shuffle? Well, what kind of shuffle are you looking for, Joseph? Are you looking for a Seamus Casey shuffle? The Seamus shuffle? Pesci and Hughes are going to be an elite top pairing in the league. I think you're probably right. As long as Luke, simplifies the game a little bit and stops taking some of those kind of high risk passes and maneuvers that he likes to do, like he did in in Detroit when he tried to go up the middle with it, and DeBrincat just grabbed it and ripped it past Markstrom. I love the new Ducks look. It's pretty zany. I wish they were still called the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. Yeah, Anaheim Ducks doesn't have the same flair to it. But, I forget. What was the reason? Were they trying to disassociate themselves from the movie? I forget the reasoning behind the name change. I've seen the Mighty Ducks animated series. I've never seen that. But the real movie is amazing. Ducks were doing the flying V in the first period. Markey needs to stop sitting so deep, and he needs to get his body in front of pucks. Mystery Alaska and Slapshot. Youngblood. Nico genuinely looks a lot like Crosby with his puck control and much stronger core strength. And let's not get crazy, James. But I see what you're saying. But, let's not throw around Crosby like that. But I understand what you're saying. Happy to see the win, but we beat a team that we should beat and haven't beaten a playoff team yet. True Patriot, you keep saying this. We 100% have beat at least 1 or 2 teams already that will be in the playoffs. I don't know where you're coming up with this stuff.
Call from
Chico.
Chico!
Hey, how's it going, brother?
How's it going with you, my friend?
Oh, my God. It's been a great night. Nets won. Devils won. It's a great sports night, brother.
What was your first team, you said?
Nets.
The Brooklyn Nets?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I lost a lot of interest after they left New Jersey, man. It really was.
I did, too. Listen, I went through the wilderness for like 12 years before I finally got over it and went back to them. But it's a great night. First of all, first thing I want to say, though, is – wait, hang on. What's your policy on cursing?
I mean, try to keep it minimal. It doesn't bother me, but some people complained about it last time. So just try to just keep it as minimal as possible. But if you have to let it go, let it go.
I just want to say to everyone saying, it's just the Ducks, bro. It's just the Ducks. First of all, let's see you bum asses out there beating the Ducks. None of you are beating the Ducks. Second of all, you can only beat the teams in front of you. And they didn't just beat the Ducks. It wasn't a 2-1 overtime win. It was domination, complete domination, to the point where Curtis MacDermid, punchy boy Curtis MacDermid, who can't play hockey otherwise, had a 64% expected goals percentage. Curtis MacDermid.
He was out there a lot.
Insane.
He was out there a lot tonight. 9. What was it? Oh, I just lost the page. I think it has to be a career.
9-12. He played 9-12.
Look at my man Curtis, 9-12, huh? Love to see it.
He was good, actually. Like, he was legitimate. He looked like a hockey player.
Yeah, he got to the front of the
and
net.
I credit that, and I credit a lot to Keefe's system. His system, you could tell they bought in. I don't know if do you watch many other teams? Like, did you watch the Leafs at all when he was their coach?
A little bit, but not much. I see all the highlights and stuff on NHL Network, and I watch stuff online, but like full games, it's hard for me to, with watching all the Devils games, obviously, to watch like full games of tons of other teams. Like, I do have other things going on in my life, but yeah.
Yeah, it can be tough, especially when you're trying to cover like the Devils as closely. But if you go back and look, for years, Sheldon Keefe was begging that Leafs team, please go to the net. Please go to the net. Just please go to the damn net. And they wouldn't do it. And you watch this game, and I'm not going to say they were like crashing the net necessarily, but every goal they scored, like they could smell Reimer's breath, basically.
Yeah, Nathan.
That tells me that this team has completely bought in.
Get right in the goalie's face. I mean, there's no better way to get him than just get down low. Yeah, Nason he just gets right to the front. I love Nason's game, man. He's
fearless. He's fearless.
Right there, right in front. And that was just a beautiful, when he scored that one, I was like, all right, I think we're going to put these boys down. And hopefully they start doing it more often. A lot of times you've seen the Devils in the past try to do pretty perimeter shots, or they'll try to pass it around and get a one-timer to a wide open net. Just get to the front of the net. I love to see it.
I've been seeing it more often as the season's gone on, as they get used to him and as they get used to the style. I think that kind of pretty perimeter play is mostly behind us. I think that's just always going to be who Jack is.
Mm-hmm.
But Nico, he's a bulldog in there. You added Nason, you added Cotter, who I have to give you props for. I was one of the ones in the comments of your video going, I don't know. I think it's a little pie in the sky for Cotter to almost get 20.
But
now he might get more goals this season than Holtz's going to get in his career.
It's quite possible. But I mean, it was a little bit of a bold, prediction by me. So your assessment of it was fair. I mean, most people would have said that my prediction was a little optimistic, and maybe it was. But, due to a, whatever you want to call it, a divine intervention, Paul Cotter is going to probably smoke my points prediction.
He just fits perfectly into this system, and he fits perfectly into what Keefe wants to do. And especially, like, he was buried in the lineup because he does things that people higher up in the lineup in Vegas already do. Mm-hmm. But he is unique as a Devil, essentially. Like, he will do things that the other Devils, not necessarily, I don't want to say won't do, but aren't built to do. Mm-hmm. Other than, like, Timo Meier. No. What a win tonight. I called it. I almost called it. Last stream, I predicted 5-3, and then they would sweep the Western road trip. I was a little off, but hopefully the second part comes true, and they sweep the Western road trip.
A sweep on the Western road trip would be, that would essentially be, so we lost 4 in a row and then won 4 in a row. I mean, yeah, I would love to see it. That is, 2 out of 3, I guess, is, I guess your optimistic hope, but really winning all 3, there would definitely be a energy kind of in the rock for that return game against Montreal. That would be something special. And hopefully the springboard of, the rest of the season to come. But it is where, it was disappointing to go on that slide. I was very hopeful after the first chunk of games. I was like, oh, maybe we're not going to go through a rough patch. I didn't think we would lose 4 in a row this early on, but I thought we'd have difficulties here and there with maybe some heavy forechecking teams, or a night where a goalie was off, or, everyone just looked like they couldn't buy a goal. Like, those things happen. But to start off the way we did and then lose 4 in a row, and the fashion in which we lost some of the games was disheartening. And hopefully this really is the, the kind of turning of the page.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. As for the heavy forechecking teams, this is where you and I kind of disagree. I don't necessarily think it's like a natural counter to the Devils. I think for a long time it was a stylistic counter. When you look at Ruff when you think of Ruff's style, it's very rush, it's very back and forth, very mobile. That is just going to get crushed by a heavy forecheck. Keefe's system, I think, where it's more about control, more about not necessarily just speedy movement. I think they're going to figure out how to stop that heavy forecheck. But
I hope so, because it does. It's so far, it's kind of seemed like a recipe to at least give us trouble because of, for a system aside, it doesn't seem like some of the personnel that we have enjoy that type of game, and that they kind of are, you know where I'm getting with this, and that it takes them completely out of their comfort zone, and teams are like, well, you know what? Let's make these guys uncomfortable, and it gives us a good chance to win. I'm hoping that they get more comfortable being uncomfortable, because not every team is going to kind of play the way we want them to play against us, and teams are going to make it wars, and they have to be ready for war every single night if they're going to be a very good regular season team and have any sort of level of success in the playoffs.
Absolutely, that I agree with. Absolutely. You saw, if you remember, the Carolina series, where it just felt like they evaporated. They're going to have to learn, I think, just how to deal with it, just how to skate through it. I think they can, but I mean, certain players probably won't be able to. Like Jack Hughes, he's never going to be Jason Arnott.
No,
you can't ask him to be. He can only be Jack Hughes.
Imagine if he was Arnott's size.
So that Jack Hughes is really, really good.
Yeah.
So, but the last thing I want to bring up before I let you go is early in the stream you were mentioning Nico Hughes and how you didn't think. You didn't agree with him being named captain at first. But
no, it was
the
more.
Reason why...
Wait. Let me just cut you off for. Let me cut you off for a second. It's not that I didn't agree with him being named captain at first. I think it was after a little bit of time. I was like, "Why is?" It's more of questioning his captaincy after the fact. Because at the time, I kind of understood why they did it. But that's a fair statement by you. I guess it's kind of one and the same. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, it's similar.
Yeah, I knew he was going to be captain from his very first game. I can't remember if I put this story in the comments or in the chat or not, but from his very first game, it was Devils versus Colorado Avalanche in that 17-18 season. Eric Johnson has a nasty knee-on-knee hit with palms, and the first person who jumps on him is Nico Hischier, the rookie Nico Hischier. In that moment, I knew this guy's going to wear the C someday.
Is that the last time Hischier jumped on somebody? Wait, I'm gonna have to pull the video on that. No, I'm just busting. Now listen, man, I love Nico. It's not his game, and I get it, but he does take a pounding and keeps on going. Props to him. Like I said earlier, one of the pound for pound probably toughest guys in the league in terms of just getting beat on relentlessly and just continuing to do what he needs to do.
Oh yeah. He is a different kind of tough. He is absolutely still tough, but different. But all right, I'm gonna let you go on that one, Ace.
All right, man. Great.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
Oh, I will. I will. What a win. What a win. What a time to be a Devils fan. Hopefully we sweep that trip like you said. Cheers. Thanks for calling. Appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.
Hell yeah. Talk to you later, bro.
Take care. Bye-bye. What a night. People are fired up. The captain, Nico, he's sure just dominating the NHL season thus far. Love McD, too. He was the beginning of the heavier, edgier, and more violent. He certainly was. And then we brought in Dylan, and then we brought in Kovacevic. Well, maybe not in that order, but I think Kovacevic was first. And then maybe Cotter, Dylan, Nason. Heavier, edgier, more violent. Hopefully some of the guys that were already here develop a little bit of that nasty streak, but from the personnel we brought in, they're definitely heavier, edgier, more violent. From what Keefe says, Lazar will be out 100%. He's going to be out. 120 plus people in here. Push like or I'll come take your gob of goal. Yeah, press the like, guys. Maybe there's a lot of haters in here. We've talked about that before. The Dutch have no idea how to brew beer. All right. I don't know if bad memory, but wasn't Bastion actually pretty great against Otto? Was that the game he had the shorty? Can we try putting Big Mac in the crease? Got to use that size for something other than fights. I mean, he was trying to get to the front of the net and get a tip tonight, it looked like a throwaway power play. You have to beat the teams you should beat, like the Ducks. Ace, you are glowing tonight. Yeah, man, I saw a New Jersey Devils victory in person for the first time in Shit. The last game I went to was, well, I was 0 for 2 on this season. I'm trying to think now, actually. When was the last time I saw a Devils win live in person? Let me think. I got to look at the schedule from last year. Did they win that game? Was it Philly? I think the last game I went to last season was the game they wore the Stadium Series jerseys, which was March. Was that March 19th against the Pens? 5-2 win. I think maybe that was the. Yeah, so you're talking about I haven't seen a Devils win in person in like over 7 months. It's probably just me, but I've moved on from almost all my Rangers hate. Oh man, I could never. It's so deeply entrenched in my DNA for 30 plus years. There's no way. Gonna see Ace MacDermid at MSG.
Call from
Paul.
Hello, Paul.
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I love your channel. I love what you're doing for the fan base. So just want to give you your flowers there.
Oh man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I don't know exactly how we got here, but we're here. So I appreciate your support. Appreciate you calling in and watching the channel. What are your thoughts on this beautiful Sunday evening?
First of all, love the game. I thought that was the most crisp they looked passing wise. Going into even last season, they just seemed very confident team. That being said, just two things. I know it's kind of late. Number one, I think it's time the fan base put some respect on Sheldon Keefe's name. I know it's early in the season, and but we got a great coach. So everybody's got to let him kind of, like you were saying, buy into the system, things like that. The last caller was talking about it with the Maple Leafs. But he's a great offensive-minded coach. We got a great coach. I personally thought Giroux probably would have been the better fit, but a close second would have been Keefe. So
who was the first one you said?
But Giroux from he's actually coaching the Maple Leafs now.
Oh, Berube.
So, Berube. I can never pronounce his name.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, I would. He was my number one as well, but I do think he would be too extreme.
Yeah.
I think he would have broken some of these kids.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, look how the Flyers are right now under Tortorella. It seems like those kind of dictator coaches. It works the first year, maybe two, and then everybody kind of gets gassed after that. So, but they are a young team. They need discipline. So, brings me into my next point, number two. I know the love fest with Nico, our captain. What a leap he's taken this year in his game. He's been very good, and he's deserving to be captain. But I guess my issue, and I catch a lot of crap, I guess, on social media with this and in the comment sections and things of Devil fan pages is, it's one thing to produce on the ice, but off the ice in that locker room on that bench, you got to be a captain too and call your guys out. So I like to see him do more of that too, because there needs to be a standard set, and he's absolutely setting that, especially this year. But you got to start holding your boys accountable.
I think that's a fair point. I'm curious to know, or kind of be a fly on the wall, if you will, in private situations to see how much that's the thing I've always wondered about as well. I do think you have a point there to some extent. Setting the standard is great, but at some point, whether, not publicly, obviously, but behind closed doors, tell guys that they're not getting it done and that they basically suck and it's not acceptable.
Right.
I could see him not doing that. So that is a fair point. I am curious, the dynamics of the locker room with all that. But, hopefully guys step their game up one way or another soon, because Nico's literally dragging this team along as the season goes on.
It's just unbelievable. And that's the thing. Like I said, I can be, I love him. I love him as a captain. I do. That being said, there's always room for growth, and no one's perfect. And again, I just think he needs to be a little more vocal. And we're not in the locker room. We don't know exactly what's going on. But listen, you don't got to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. They're a very young team. They live in the tri-state area next to the most poppin' city in the world, basically, New York City. These guys might be going out having a good time. And that's where they lack discipline. And that's where Fitzgerald actually said it in his end of the year conference. He said, we're pretty immature. And it's no secret. So, hopefully he sets them to that standard and, sets it on and off the ice in the locker room and on the bench. Because I think actually Keefe said that too. We got to start holding each other accountable more in certain situations and situation awareness and all that. So we'll see what happens, brother. But I don't want to keep you or nothing like that. I know it's late. So that's all I really got to say tonight.
No, I appreciate your call. Last thing, a guy in the chat, John Woodson, wrote, Markstrom was a mistake. What is your response to that?
So, I love to respond to that. I don't think Markstrom was a mistake. I think that's just kind of the best we were going to get this year. I think it was very, very obvious the guys we had last year were just not cutting it. So I think he's an upgrade. Jake Allen, I think we could do better with a backup. I think he's going to continue to struggle throughout the year. I know he's been left out to dry a couple times, but you got to make saves. I mean, you got to make saves in crucial situations. Everybody gets left out to dry. It happens. But you got to make those like one or two saves. That could be just give your team enough boost to like get their game back and hopefully get a goal again and keep yourself in the game. But to answer your question, I don't think Markstrom is a mistake. Do I think he's how do I put it? No, he's not a mistake, but yeah, he's the number one goalie right now, and I think Devil fans as a fan base, we just got to accept it and support him. And yeah, that's all I really got to say about that.
No,
I don't think there's anything better we're going to get.
I think
now.
I think that's a fair assessment, and I think it's way too early to call it a mistake. And I think those are just people looking to fist pump and proclaim they were right because they didn't want Markstrom to begin with. So now they're like, I told you so.
Exactly.
And, again, it's not even Halloween yet. So I think those people are comical.
Yeah.
But appreciate you watching, man. Thank you for calling. Hopefully talk to you again soon.
Brother.
And as always,
Absolutely.
Let's go Devils, man. Have a good rest of your night.
Absolutely. You too, brother. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, I didn't mean to hit the button that quickly. All right. I'm shutting down the phone lines here. The phone lines are shut down until next time. Gonna go through some of these. Jack isn't a 100-point player. Well, we'll see. He's been a 99-point player. Markstrom did let up a weak goal on that first shot, but I'm happy with the results. Could not afford to lose another one at home. Couldn't afford to lose another one anywhere. Obviously, at home makes it a little more painful. I wonder how Jack, when he gets his swag back, is going to link up with this badass Nico too. Reasons to be hopeful. Yeah, man. Once Jack gets hot with Nico playing the way he is, we have some lethal scoring at the moment. It is crazy that Jack really, with 3 goals through 12 games, all the goal production we've been getting from guys like, Nason and Cotter, it's crazy. Yeah, he had 99. That's not 100, Chico. He's being very literal. He's not a 100-point player. He's only 99. In the offseason, Jack works his ass off to get better. Unfortunately, the surgery was a setback, so he didn't get to go full send in the offseason. Yeah, hopefully there's nothing preventing him from bulking up this summer. Was at the game tonight. Didn't look good in the first, but I noticed they were heavily out shooting the Ducks, but it was like they flicked the switch on in the second, looked a lot more cohesive. Yeah. And I think as the game went on, the Ducks just got more and more overwhelmed, and there was nothing they could do. They were just in survival mode. Shout out stain remover works perfect if you have an oopsie on your jersey. I try not to get oopsies, but maybe I'll start. Maybe the next merchandise drop will be a running with the Devil's bib, a bib to protect your jersey when you stuff your face at games. I agree. Jack does not seem like a 100-point player right now. I mean, everyone goes through a little bit of a struggle here and there, and he's got 10 points in 12 games. So let's just do the actual math out. He's on pace for 68. Yeesh. Definitely not what we were hoping for. But again, I think he finishes with at least 85 or so points. He's going to go on a tear at some point where he scores like, probably 12 points over 5 games or something, or 12 points in 6 games. I'm getting sick and tired of our defense just standing there and watching the other team skate into our zone, or just standing and watching them shoot. Defense needs to be way more aggressive. Sometimes they get caught flat-footed, and it seems like they're very kind of slow to respond. Puck watching does need to stop, especially on the PK. Yeah, I just feel like we need to pressure the point more. So many teams have generated goals by just flinging pucks from the point, whether it's tipped, rebounds, whatever. Like we gotta tighten up on point pressure, because there's so many freaking goals have come from that tactic against the Devils. Loved the Pesce-Luke pair tonight. Luke looked a lot better this game. He's going to benefit so much for playing with Pesce. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's probably part of the reason why, is that a true vet like Pesce could kind of make up for some of his mistakes, or, his gambles. Kovacevic is better than Dougie for a fraction of the cost. Defensively, I suppose. I mean, I guess that, you would like to think that Dougie's better offensively when you look back at the history, but I don't know. Is he damaged goods now with that pec injury? I guess we'll find out over time. 2 out of 3 on the road trip would smack Calgary and Van. If I'd like, if I had to pick 2, I really want to beat McDavid too. A lot of Rogalski hate still. Why is McGill still around? Pesce has super abilities batting pucks out of there. Kobe needed to block that or get out of the way, but Markey should have had it too. Everyone, Bemone's not getting Makar out of that draft, but he wasn't being considered at number 1, and we got the best center at that spot. Yeah, that's complete, using hindsight and revisionist history. Like, yeah, no one's draft board had Makar ranked number 1. No one knew how good that guy was going to be. John Woodson, look at these guys cheesing over beating the Ducks. My God, let's win 2 or 3 straight. John Woodson, why are you even here then, man? I remember you saying smack the last game too. It was a win we needed to get, and they got it. I mean, and I've even said, yes, it's the Ducks. We beat a team we were supposed to, but what are we supposed to do? We can't enjoy the victory, and let's win 2 to 3 straight. I think last time you're the one that said we need to win 5 straight. Now you're lowering the bar all of a sudden. Nico looks like a man possessed. Nico is becoming a star. Handful of guys need to learn how to block better. We beat the Ducks. We're winning the cup. You could only beat the teams in front of you. Look at your moments beat the Ducks. Snapping the L streak will lead to that. Nico broke the record for fastest 2 goals for a Devils player, 10 seconds. Just got home from slinging drinks. I'm not a doomsdayer. Couldn't watch the game, so I'm looking forward to the recap. Ace, did you read Larry Brooks today in the New York Post? I did not. Did he have anything interesting to say? The old Brooksy. Nason and Cotter have more goals because they go to the net. Yeah, they go to the dirty areas. They get their head down, and they get the job done. Jersey Roots, how you doing, Paisan and all our Devils, Barbarians? Victory! Victory! Cotter is making Mercer tradable. That might be one thing I agree with you on, John Woodson. Larry Brooks knocks over his alphabet soup for his articles that barely... Shooting into the goalie chest from the distance won't cut it. John Woodson, isn't it past your bedtime, bud? He's the... Oh, man, this chat is brutal. Just keeping them so crying. We're not missing the playoffs, John. Just stop. What is it? We're not missing the playoffs. I'm telling you, with all the guys playing a more Nico-type game with the forecheck and backcheck, it's freeing up Nico to be more offensive. Would love to be wrong. I think you will be wrong. My coach used to say, know where the puck is, but more importantly, know where the puck is going to be. That's your strength. Yeah, Nico just gets to the right spots. You see it time and time again. He just creeps into the slot or off to the side, and someone gets in the puck, and it's just beep, and he's just lasering him in. Nico just using his crystal ball out there. Who is Alex Holtz? I don't. Who is Alex Holtz? Miss me some Zetterlund too. I remember Ace made an emergency rage video when Fitz traded Holtz for Cotter. Yeah, obviously. It was more about Schmid and Holtz. I don't know if it was a rage video either. I'd have to go back and check it. I definitely wasn't happy, that I know. And then, I reacted in the moment, and then I came back shortly thereafter and was like, all right, I've calmed down a bit. Holtz might not be the guy we thought he was. And after seeing some of the filthy videos of Cotter's hands online and him just doing crazy maneuvers and beautiful highlights, I was like, all right, I could live with this. And this guy is a little heavier, edgier, more violent on top of the skill. Pesci will teach Luke not to do dumb crap. That would be nice. I saw more good tonight from Luke than bad. A lot of takeaways by Luke. A good win, but it was the Ducks. We need to start beating good teams. Again, people keep saying this. I don't know what, how does anyone know Ottawa's not going to be a good team? And what is the definition of good? Are we talking about playoff team? Washington could very well be in the playoffs. Utah could very well be in the playoffs. So I don't know. Buffalo could be in the playoffs. I think a lot of the people saying good teams, I don't know what exactly they're using as the bar for good teams. Like, are you talking about, like, is everyone just using, like, the Leafs, Rangers, and Panthers as, like, the good teams? I'm not really sure. But we will eventually beat one of these quote-unquote good teams. Pesci's been what Luke needed to thrive. I was getting worried for a while. Scratching Luke for Nemitz is a sort of lateral move, so do it. We have 7 legit defensemen. We need to have days off so we can practice. Nason is a dog with a pickup. I could not agree more. Nico found out where grandma keeps the peanut butter. Can Nico take Jack home with him next summer? Yeah, I think the Swiss guys got after it this summer. All of them. Nason looking like a beast and having silky mitts with that move. I was pissed that the Islanders take a run at Jack. Yeah, Romanov, after MacDermid buried him, Romanov went after Jack and laid a pretty good hit on him. And after the game in the interview, he was like, yeah, they hit me, so I went after their best player. That should have been a complete melee. Cotter has erased any memories of Holtz. The same for me. Wins will straighten Markstrom out. I really, really hope so. If I recall correctly, Disney sold the team and made them change the name. Interesting. Gudis has had a busy weekend wrecking people. Got to give it to him. He broke Laffy and some other ragdoll too. I'm stating we haven't beaten a playoff team from last year, but we did beat the Caps. I don't care about last year. A lot of the teams we beat this year are going to be either playoff teams or in the hunt for the playoffs. So for people to keep saying beat a good team, I can't tell you that these teams aren't good. It's early on in the season. This is the NHL. Every team is some level of good for the most part. I do think this Ducks team is going to be terrible, if I'm being honest. I think they're going to be terrible. But I love Keefe as a coach. Keefe system that they have had like 5 full practices to work on. Give it time. Oh, James, stop talking sensical, James. It's not even Halloween yet. These people were calling for everyone to get fired and the Devils the worst team ever, 2 games ago. We must not be a playoff team. We can only beat the Ducks and non-playoff teams. I just talked about this. Any hate on Keefe, please check your at the door. To be fair, what good team have we beat? Utah is not a playoff team. Stop. How could you say that definitively? How can you say that definitively? I would love to know. They could end up being a playoff team. And somehow they were undefeated, I believe, when they came to the Devils. So again, they're not, they're definitely better than the Ducks. I didn't say they were great, but I said for people to write them off like they're a horrible team I think is a stretch. Capitals are good. I think they're good enough. I can't just be like, oh, they're terrible. I don't know why people are trying to discredit the wins that they had. Ovi is looking old, but that has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with the overall success of the team. You guys are pushing the Discord thing. I'll look into it. But can that plug into this? Does that integrate with YouTube? Or is that a separate thing entirely? I'll look into it. Let's try to win the next one to prove it wasn't luck. Okay. I don't think Berube ever was. I mean, I think if he didn't get the Leafs job, he may have considered New Jersey, but I think the whole time he was waiting to see if that Toronto job was going to open up. Go back and watch Jack's goal. The backhand pass from Mercer was insane. Timo's quick second pass to Jack was nice. It's a shame Mercer can't buy a goal right now, though. I feel like he had a couple really good chances tonight and just couldn't bury it. I really want to see I really want to see him start burying some. Just checking some things out here. Dougie's always out of position. It's insane. I wish I could go back in time and show Keefe some Cotter, and Nico highlights as Marner is skating circles around the perimeter for a full 2 minutes. Just like, hang on, buddy. It gets better. Med Alamo. MacDermid has been a difference maker just for the impact on the bench. I think so, too. And he had a big impact on the ice in just, 2 minutes and 13 seconds the other day. I'm a Curtis MacDermid guy. I hate Radko Gudas. Dude's name sounds like a bad guy from Power Rangers. That said, I would love him as a Devil. I think that's pretty much all those guys like that. I wanted the Devils to try to get him last year. I thought there was a chance. We could try to somehow land in a deal, him and Henrique. But it was pipe dreams that couldn't happen, or didn't happen, I should say. Such an irrelevant argument with not beating playoff teams. The bottom 5 teams in the league bottom 5 teams in year at end of season will all have victories against the best teams in the league. Yeah, I think that's a fair thing as well. It's like, on any given day, these teams in the league are, no one's giving away wins. So every win is a decent win. Granted, I do think the Ducks are going to be one of the worst teams in the league. I want to see Romanov destroyed next time we play the Islanders. We go after their star. I would love to see both. I would love to see Barzell crumpled, and I would love to see Romanov pounded into the ice. Jared, I agree. It's the NHL, the best hockey on the planet. They're all good teams. Exactly. How am I being a homer, True Patriot? You can't just discredit wins. I mean, I don't understand why just like everyone just like, oh, the teams we beat suck. Like they're, they don't suck. Are the Isles a playoff team? Again, I don't know. If they don't make it, I believe they'll be in the hunt. I believe they'll be sniffing the playoffs. If I had to bet, I would say probably not. But again, that doesn't make you a bad team. I mean, the Devils didn't make the playoffs last year, and they beat a ton of good teams throughout the year at various points. So what does it really mean to say that they're not good teams or they're not playoff teams? Utah, they need a couple more years to develop, but they have talent. I would not be surprised to see them sneak into the playoffs this year. Yep. Discord is an app, but it lets you do stuff like have live calls with your PC microphone and have voices go directly into the stream. Okay. This sounds like a plan. I'm on board with this. The best teams aren't the ones that beat all the teams they can. Each team goes through losing streaks throughout the year. It's about developing your identity and build momentum down the stretch. Yeah, getting hot at the right time in all of sports is huge, but especially in hockey. How was that domination of a game remotely close to being won by luck? I don't know who said that. I guess someone in the chat must have said that. Toronto had first dibs on coaches. Our schedule has been tough. 10 games in 17 days after Prague. Grueling. No practice time. Tonight was the only team we played with no real shot at the playoffs, so strength of opposition above average. I think that's a fair assessment as well. Like I've said about, to all these doomsdayers that are like saying we only beat shit teams. I can't definitively say that any of those teams are definitely not going to be playoff teams. And then furthermore, that's not really the measure of a quality win anyway, whether or not they make the playoffs. Joined late, still think we have a goaltending problem. It's definitely possible. I'm hoping not. And I'm hoping that we see Markstrom, settle in and play some great hockey for this Devils club all year long. But at the moment, the statistics and the eye test on the goaltenders is a bit troubling. Berube was always going to Toronto. I think so. Jersey Roots Mac is great for morale. Keep him around. I would love to see him play more games for sure. The Predators and the Oilers were playoff teams last season and have both played under expectations so far. Even good teams go through rough patches sometimes. Oh, Jared, stop making sense to these doomsdayers. Mercer still got to prove it, but he played a really good game. Oh, man, having Rico back to be 3C, 4C would be insane. Yeah, I really wanted to see him, and I was hoping Gudis was included because, again, you guys know I always wanted to be heavier, edgier, more violent. So a Henrique reunion with a murderous defenseman, that was me and my one buddy would talk. We would text about that fantasy regularly last year. My biggest concern is Dougie Dillon pairing. Once Pesce and Luke are up to speed, they need to be the top pair and get the most minutes. Dougie Dillon needs to drop to third pair. Dougie is a liability. I think of in not too distant future, you will see Pesce and Luke get the most minutes. When the Devils lose to a bad team, they can't even beat bad teams. When the Devils beat a bad team, calm down, it's a bad team. Negative Nancy's are ubiquitous in this chat. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, and there's far less tonight because it was a win. They typically don't come out in droves the way they do after a loss, as a lot of you know. Devils are going to need to add a top 6 guy at the deadline. I agree there. We're going to have to go to market and buy preferably a big, nasty type winger for Jack's wing, I would like to see. Devils don't have the cap space to add a 3C, but with some moves they could. Never replace Toffoli. The Winnipeg Jets are going to have their annual second half collapse, not buying their emotional high. Nason and Cotter are scoring at a better pace than he did. They can make it work. Another team take on money. Some select boy. Some folks in the chat need to make up their minds. The Devils beating a bad team means they aren't any good. Come on now. Oh, no, if you're not Doomsday, the Doomsdayers are just, we'll see, he was a 30-goal guy by himself. Every time I hear the playoff team argument, I hear Jim Mora's voice. This has to be, Joseph, one of the greatest sports clips in history. Playoffs? Jim Mora playoffs. If no one knows that, I'll put the link in the chat. The Jim Mora playoffs. So 3 of the things that I associate with that kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, that category of sports sound bites. The ones that will always be my favorite in no particular order is the Jim Mora playoffs. I love the Allen Iverson. We're talking about practice, and I love the Denny Green. They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. Those are 3 of the greatest kind of sports press conferences, like quotables, are all just memorable ones from my childhood that I'll never forget. I could see Mercer or Cotter shifting to center to replace 4C and then slot in Bastian again. I think there's a couple guys that are capable of playing center in different spots to make the lines work out in that way. I'm curious to see next game. I really hope we see MacDermid in. So I'm hoping there's some way that, MacDermid could stay in and then Bastian comes in and then they figure out positionally where guys are going to go. But I do think that is a possibility. I'm hoping that this is a reset win for Markey. He led in a week 1 and they still won. He bounced back mid-game. I'm hoping this kind of gets some momentum going in his favor and we see last year's Markey. As long as he plays good. We have Gritsuk. No need for a top 6. Everyone keeps saying this kid he looks like a stud. Gritsuk. Listen, I love this team. I think you have your rose-colored glasses on. We are both entitled to our viewpoints. I want to be wrong. I pride myself, I believe, on not having rose-colored glasses on most of the time. Sometimes I do. But the thing I will keep leaning on is that this team did have a great year 2 years ago, and all of the core pieces are still here, and I would maintain that the other pieces outside of the core are better than that team as well. And so outside of the element of surprise, why can this team not go further in the playoffs than that team did? With a better defense, with a better goaltender, with, I would say, comparable bottom 6 guys. When can he come here? Brat with the see you later on, some guy, and Nason with that sweet, sweet pull and finish. My take teams, no real shot. Flyers, Pens, Jackets, Habs, Blues, Hawks, Ducks, Sharks, Flames. Yeah, it sucks that Sid is gonna ride out, the end of his career, however many years he has left on a most likely shitty Pittsburgh team. Man, that's kind of rough for the sport. Like, to not have Sid in the playoffs is kind of unfortunate. Ducks played a hard physical game against the Rangers. Devils dominated the Ducks and will dominate the Rangers on December 2nd. Oh, Aaron, I hope you're right. Yep, Denny Green. We lost the Ducks last year badly, so it was nice to actually beat them convincingly for once. My favorite is still that NCAA going, I'm a man, I'm 40. I don't know what that is. Anaheim Ducks suck. Got to beat who you play. They got the win. Now it's time to build on it. I agree there, Luke. It's a long season. The fellas had no practice time, and we just swapped out a whole defensive pair. Hughes clearly is shaking off the injury. It takes time mentally. Yeah, hopefully he starts flying soon. 22-23 Devils had like 4 losses in the first 4 games in October, and then they turned it into a record season. Remember the Fire Lindy chant? Oh, yes, I do. Aren't we all tired of losing to Canes? Caps had our number. Isles have won 9 of the last 12 in rock. Leafs rocked us. Calgary is 5-2-1. Can they maintain it? Other than faceoffs, Cotter reminds me so much of McLeod last year, who was one of our top performers. Bold take, but I'd be good with having Hughes, Wing, Heischer, and Meier. Cotter 2C. I'm down for all of these experiments, and I do think Jack and Nico are lethal together as well. But there's a whole lot of other things that kind of come as a byproduct of that. But Jack and Nico are both elite playmakers and hockey players, and I do think them together could be lethal. But I don't know. There's some drawbacks to kind of all these situations. I wouldn't mind seeing a test of it. Bring a guy up from Utica. At least audition it. He needs decent minutes and also on power play too. Night all, got to go. Have a good night, DJ. Random, but do they still sell or give out season programs for the team? I'd love to get my hands on one. I couldn't find anything online. So, Jared, do you mean like a media guide, like the yearly yearbook-ish kind of thing, or do you mean like game-by-game programs? I'm curious what you mean by that. I wish teams would play the opposite conference only once. During the COVID season, so many rivalries were renewed. You're damn right. You got a YouTube, I'm a man, I'm 40. It was an NCAA football coach going on a rant about the press cruelly going after his players. It was both hilarious and made you want to run through a wall for him. Oh, I do think I saw this. Hold on. Let me just pull. I'm not going to play it now, but let me just pull it up so that I could watch it later. I do vaguely remember this. Oh, yeah. Yep, Mike Gundy. Okay, I do remember this. Yeah. Yeah. It's just not as ingrained in my mind as the other ones because it was when I was when I was younger and we would always quote it. That one was not that long ago. Tonight was a good step, and it was just that happy they won. Rangers Devils 6 times a year should be the norm. Yeah, we were talking about this a couple streams ago. There was a couple years, I think, when they played like 8 times. It was sick. It was just wild. You mean media guides? Who do you think replaces Lazar? I think that's very interesting. Season ends today. He sure gets the Hart, the Selke, and the Rocket Richard. How you like that? How you like them apples, David? 3 trophies. Realistically, I don't think he's going to win the Hart. If somehow, I mean, I would love to be wrong, and I'd love to see it, but I mean, the Hart in the Connor McDavid era with some of these other guys is an uphill battle for anyone to win. I do think he definitely could win a Selke this year for sure. I thought Pollock was good tonight. I mean, better than most of the other games, I think. Would love to see Heischer shooting percentage stay at 21% now that he tied for most goals, but he usually lay around 12 to 13. I mean, 21% is pretty damn high. Pollock had a bad pass the second Ducks goal. Heischer is hitting a new level, which is exciting. I bet Fitz and Keefe told him we needed more from him. Maybe they were just like, yo, get this offense, young man. But overall, he was better. All right, I'm going to try to get off here in a second. Yeah, man, I've been stuck on these things for forever. Shout out to all you guys for coming through. I'm going to go take a leak. This is like my new tradition now, and then wrap up in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Chico, don't tell me to wash my hands. I always wash my hands. So any closing comments or anything from anybody else, any questions, random thoughts, whatever it is, throw it out there. Throw it out there in the chat. I'm going to take a leak. I'll be back in maybe 90 seconds, and then I'll stay on here for another 5 or 10 minutes and wrap this thing up on this beautiful Sunday night where our New Jersey Devils prevented a 5-game skid. No, I use hand soap. I'm not a hand sanitizer guy. I mean, I do have it in my car. There's a lot of I was kind of a germaphobe way before the COVID germaphobes came about. Like I never liked touching shit that people touched, like doorknobs and things like that. It always kind of freaked me out. I'll be right back. I got to take this leak. And be right back. We'll be back for the final. I'll be back for the final 5 or 10 minutes or so of the show. Appreciate you all on this fine Sunday evening. Be right back in about 90 seconds. All right. I'm back. Forgot to mention, I'm kind of behind on some editing and some things. I have some really, really, really cool stuff. I would say the highlight of my channel experience thus far is in the editing phase right now. And hopefully comes out in the next couple weeks. There's a lot of editing and a lot of stuff to do. But I have a really cool project that I did that will be coming out soon. So keep an eye peeled for that. I'm hoping in 2 weeks, but I did I think I might do like a little vlog style video from tonight's game. There was some interesting and funny things. I might do a review on the suite I took a lot of video. I always roll video. I've been doing it since I was a kid. So I do think some of you will find some of that stuff interesting. That'll probably be up in the next couple days. The suite review, as well as maybe a vlog style kind of thing. And then tomorrow night at 7 p.m., I will be in the chat for whoever joins us for part 2 of the goalie mask vault visit with my buddy Jordan, who's accumulated a beautiful, stunning collection of goalie masks from the New Jersey Devils throughout their history. He has an insane collection. If you haven't seen it, check out part 1. I just dropped in the chat part 1 of that video, and part 2 of the mask video. I'll put that link in the chat right now as well. Part 2 is premiering. Part 1 is the first link, and this is part 2 that's premiering tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Like I said, some of us, I'm sure, will be in the chat for that. Really cool part 2 of that series with the goalie mask king, my buddy Jordan. Let me see what you guys are talking about here. 21% is high in general, but if you look at where most of his shots have been coming from, it's close enough to smell the goalie's breath, so it's not a crazy high shooting percentage. Yeah, he's had a lot of grade A chances from the slot. Obviously, as the season goes on, he's going to at some point be taking lower percentage shots than what he's been taking. If I see you at a game, I ain't shaking them pee hand. I never have pee hands, Chico. We already talked. These people are shameful. Yo, Ace, I wonder what's the link with Ric Flair and the Devils, because I always notice the wooing at the Rock and the fans going woo too. I'm not really sure the origin of this. Other teams in sports have done this. I believe the Islanders were. I feel like the Islanders did this like 20 years ago. So I think it's kind of a thing where, like, a bandwagon thing where Ric Flair is just so beloved and the woo is just so iconic that tons of teams have incorporated like a Ric Flair video package into their game day presentation. But I'm not exactly sure if they just copied everyone else. I think they did. That Pollock giveaway was terrible for momentum. Good thing we had the comfy lead at that point. Selke, if Barkov misses a lot of time, yeah, it seems like they're going to default it to Barkov most years, but Nico is definitely going to be making a case for himself. A season program with team and player profiles and schedules. Yeah, it's more of like a media guide, and I'm not exactly sure if they even still print those. I know that there's been like digital versions. Let's see. For a while, I used to have them. They were kind of small. They were like, for years and years, they were small. Okay, so there is a digital version. I don't know if they do make a print version, but here's the digital version. I will drop this in the chat as well. I think this is what you're referring to. I probably have like 30 seasons. Like at one point, I think I may have had all the seasons in like franchise history. They were like, not even 8x10. They're probably like 6x9. I don't know, something like that. And they were like yay thick, and it had all that stuff in it. Really cool. The people who vote for awards are too stubborn and are more focused on big names rather than who actually deserves the award. Well, I mean, if Nico has the flashy offensive stats, I think that could be the thing that pushes him over the edge. It was a forced blue line pass that Plot didn't have to do, similar to Luke's terrible blue line pass his first game back. Awards, you see it a lot. Guys don't actually get the award until they have like 3 or 4 seasons where they should have won it. It's an annoying old school hockey mentality, in my opinion. I agree that that's kind of where we're at. I didn't hear no faucet. Ron, you wouldn't hear the faucet. It's behind a door and in the bathroom. How do you feel about Luke? I like Luke. I just think he makes a lot of mistakes and gambles a lot, but I think that's going to get cleaned up under Keefe, and I do think Luke is going to be a great defenseman. He has great puck handling ability, great skating, pretty good vision of the ice. I think he's going to be great, and I think, like we've talked about in this chat, in this stream rather, that Pesce, playing with Pesce, he's going to learn a lot, and some of his mistakes are going to get covered up. Pesce is a stud defender, got to be on the ice protecting leads, absolutely. After the stream ends, I'm going to have to look up that I'm 40 video. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's a good one. You should check him like an MLB. Got to clean things up, Luke, defensively. I agree there. Sorry, Ace, if I asked before, what's your opinion on Hell's Bells by AC/DC being our song? Our song in terms of what? They play Hell's Bells at the arena. I love all the old school rock. I'm not, I could deal with a little intermittent techno for certain things like warm-ups and stuff. I do enjoy it in that setting, but there's nothing like, Hell's Bells and some of the old school rock. What's going on? It's about hockey. Pop it in to say what a dominant performance tonight by your boys. Cheers, homie. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We needed this badly. We needed it so badly. At least we used to come out to Hell's Bells years ago. They come out to it now. Pesci is a good fit for Luke, like Taves and Makar, Hronik and Quinn, Ekholm and Bouchard. They printed one for the Stadium Series. I think it's the program or media guide. Hopefully a heater started tonight. Getting some practices in with a few days off should help the team turn the corner and put together more games like tonight. I certainly hope so. Can't stand Ric Flair. He's definitely become like a belligerent old man, it seems. I've seen funny videos of him like drunk in public and stuff. Sulky will come down to overall points over defense, although that just sounds counterintuitive, just how NHL operates. Same with Norris, 90 points, and it's his. I'll tell you this. The Norris really pisses me off because it is a defenseman of the year trophy. So to put such a weight on the points, I mean, I think Erik Karlsson had like 105 or 110 points a few years ago. He was like a minus 30, I think, and he was on the worst team in the league in the Sharks. Like, to give that guy the defenseman of the year trophy, I think is a slap in the face to defensemen that actually pride themselves on defense. And that's why I've kind of hated the awards, but specifically the Norris, because they're awarding offense for a defenseman of the year award. I just think it's completely stupid. Said that Pollock will never sit. He's an absolute disaster. It may come down to it where he gets scratched. I really think Luke has the potential to be even better than Jack, maybe even close to Makar level. Whether he reaches that remains to be seen, though. I could see that. He don't have that shot yet. Luke, somehow Casey knows how to find and create those lanes. That's the one thing about Casey is I don't think he's going to make some of the mistakes Luke makes. He would rather fire it up the wall than try to make a forced pass that could get, result in a turnover and come back the other way and score against us. I do think Casey, and especially early on in his first little stretch with us, he was trying to make sure that he was not causing goals against. And I think sometimes maybe Luke will have to take that approach as well. They need to separate the Norris, maybe make 2 awards, keep it as the Norris and call the best offensive defenseman award the Bobby Orr or something. I would like to see it, 2 awards for defensemen, a defensive defenseman and then an offensive defenseman, because to constantly be giving, the Norris to guys with flashy stats but just don't play defense at all, it's nuts. Exactly, Chico. Should be 3 awards for defenseman: Paul Coffey Award, Rod Langway Trophy, and Norris. The Norris is a joke. I couldn't agree more, Luke. In my opinion, with separate D-man awards, it then becomes a huge feather in your cap if you sweep them. I don't think they'll ever, if they ever were to break it up, they'd be sure to give them to different guys. That's just kind of, I think, how those things go as well. But all right, guys, if anyone has any closing thoughts here, been on here a while. A beautiful night to be a New Jersey Devils fan. We break the skid. The skid is broken. We have won a game at home. Love to see it. More depth scoring. 2 goals from Nason. A goal from Paul Cotter. And a goal apiece from Nico. And a goal from Jack Hughes. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, guys. Check out that goalie mask video. I dropped the link in there. The premiere's tomorrow. Hope to see some of you in the chat over there tomorrow night at, I think, 7 p.m. And a lot of cool stuff coming out in the next couple days. Appreciate you all for coming to hang out. And that's it. That's all I got. I'll be back soon. Great night to be a Devils fan. Cheers to you all. Thanks to those that called in. And I will see you guys all soon. Big Western Canada road trip, and hopefully the boys find a way to somehow win all 3. My heart would rejoice. But that's it. Thank you all very much. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.